What's up, YouTube? This is Ultimate Shield 340 back at it again with another Destiny 2 video. So, in today's video, I am going to be showcasing the Void Warlock here for your viewing pleasure. So, in my attempt to try and keep this somewhat short, I'm aiming for about 15 minutes or so for each video. Looking at the analytics, it looks as if you all maybe enjoy more shorter videos, so I'm gonna try and keep it to around 15 minutes whenever I can for your viewing pleasure. So that being said, I'm gonna talk to you a little bit about what's going on here in this gameplay. So I have the Void subclass for my Titan, and essentially I have spec'd the build in such a way where I'm going to be relying on my Rift to spawn the little I don't know really what to call this, but it's like a companion type pet thing, which will whenever you damage an enemy, will actually go over to the enemy and then start to do a lot of good DPS on them. I of course will link the build if you all have a question about it, or if you want to see the build itself. I can make a video about that, so feel free to ask about that if that is what you want to see. That being said, I am doing some limit testing right here. I'm trying to test the well itself to see, like, what is the survivability about this thing? Like, is it something that I can really survive at if I'm getting, pinned down by a large group of people? And as you can kind of see, I am actually able to sustain quite a bit of damage in the middle of it. And so that's a good sign. I really like the survivability that it allows me to have whenever I'm in a lot of fire. So that's awesome. For the exotic, I actually have the Le Monarch, I think is actually what it's called. Essentially, if you do a perfect draw where you draw the arrow all the way back and you hit somebody with it, it will actually turn the arrow to poison. And if you hit somebody with the perfect draw in a precision hit and it kills that target, the poison will actually spread to the other ads that are surrounding it. It actually does a lot of damage, especially whenever you combine it with the again, I don't know what to call that, but it's part of the Child of the Old Gods aspect in the Void class for the Void Warlock. And whenever you add all that DPS on top of it, it really shreds a lot of people, and it also provides a lot of different kinds of orbs. And because it's a void weapon, anytime you pick up a orb of power due to the seasonal artifact, I also get void rounds. So it's quite deadly, especially when you combine it with the Child of the Old Gods aspect. In this particular case, I'm also sort of working alongside other people who, this is a pickup group, so I don't actually know these people personally, but I'm sort of, again, testing. As you can kind of see, I don't quite know the range of the melee ability yet. I do go down there, which is rather unfortunate, but, it's just one of those things that you are testing your builds and you're trying out new things. Be prepared to die. It's really not that big of a deal, especially because, you have teammates that are here to help, sort of pick you up and things of that nature. So right here, I activate the Child of the Old Gods. I guess my Rift is there. Activate Child of the Old Gods, so it's going to go down there and DPS those things, as well as me getting that perfect draw on the Le Monarch. And, we're able to do a lot of DPS collectively on that to burn down that barrier champion. I actually really like the Void, how Void actually works on the Warlock here. One thing that's a significant change that I noticed off the top is how Devour works. So for Devour, for Warlocks, it's one of the aspects where if you kill somebody with the aspect on, you get Devour. I think that's how it works. I can't remember exactly if it's exactly like that, because I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's something of that nature where if you do something, you automatically just get Devour, as opposed to the Titan class where you have to get Devour either through I think you can only get it through Orbs of Power and the Void Breaches. For whatever reason, my mind's drawn a blank at this exact moment. I don't know why. I've been only playing Titan the entire time I've actually been playing this game up until recently, so I don't know why I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden randomly. But um, the point is that it seems to be an easier way to achieve Devour using the Warlock class rather than the Titan class, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think again, as you know, depending on what about what like sequence you actually watch this video, I actually did create a stasis Warlock video that I showcased that gameplay as well. And essentially, I just said that, you know, how each of the classes goes about everything in the subclass is the same way, but they sort of focus on different things and they take different paths to achieve the same goal. So, to my knowledge, and specifically what I mean by that is that like Warlocks and Titans both can, you know, proc Devour, and I would imagine it's the same thing for Hunters. Although I don't play Hunters, so and I don't have a Hunter, so I don't know this for sure. But I would imagine the same thing is the same, where you will proc Devour in some way, shape, or form, but how you go about it is different. So for me, it's through the aspect outright you'll get it, but I believe for the Titan, you actually do it with the fragment. And I hope kind of what I'm saying makes sense. That being said, I do believe that they each have their own way to, although they achieve the different things, the same thing a different way. I think each of the classes like excel in its own subclass in different ways. Like so, for instance, I believe that for Titans, I think they excel for Void, like in close and personal. Like if you're a very aggressive player and you like being upfront and personal and in their face, Void is going to be like that kind of play style that you want to have for if that's what you're looking for, as opposed to the Warlock Void class. It's more of a longer range one, with the Child of the Old Gods kind of going on in the background, as you can kind of see in the background footage. It'll actually go to the enemies in the distance and start to drain them while you can kind of take them out from afar. So both classes are great, but it just all depends on what kind of playstyle that you're looking for. Me personally, I actually like both kinds of playstyles, and I think it just also depends on what kind of content that you're running. In this particular case, for me, due to the enemies being longer range, it makes more sense that, you know, the Void subclass actually would be a better choice for this, only because you can address the issues and the enemies from long range, as opposed to the Titan, where you know kind of really are at your best whenever you're in melee range, and that's not really an option when you have a lake full of acid, as you can kind of see is kind of draining before we got to this part. That being said, I am actually starting to really love the Le Monarch. As you can see it in the background, it's doing a lot of different things. You know, it's a little bit slower of a playstyle due to it being a bow, but because of the poison damage and how much damage I'm doing due to the 17% damage buff I got due to the surge mods that I have equipped. It actually not only does a lot of damage to enemies directly, but the poison it does and it spreads is actually a lot as well. And so as you can see here, I'm kind of the last man standing here. Prop the Child of the Old Gods. Old Gods is kind of ticking out in the background and draining the barrier champion. So I take this opportunity to sort of run over here, pick my teammate up, and then continue to try and DPS the boss. Good news for me is that the teammate went ahead and suspended him. I'm not so great at Void Lock, I guess. Is that a word? Void Lock? Not really sure. I'm still not that great at it, so I'm still practicing. So that's the reason why I kind of fell off that cliff. No big deal. And we continue to push forward. So I really enjoy just the Warlock class so far. Again, don't really know what sequence you're going to be watching this videos in, but if you happen to see this after my stasis one, I did mention that it seems like, you know, the Warlock class overall seems to be more fit, seems to fit more my general playstyle due to how the exotics work, and like just what the actual abilities and things do, and now knowing like sort of seeing how Destiny actually plays, what to expect, how to run the content. You know, the downside to a lot of the Titan class is that I feel like overall the Titan class is actually best whenever you are in melee range, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in higher end content, that's actually going to be very, very tough for you to achieve, due to how hard the enemies hit and just all of those kinds of things. So, not that it's a bad play style at all. I mean, there are people who are, you know, very skilled with how they approach the Titan class in in-game content, but that's, yeah, I mean, and I can do it as well, but I feel like unless, I know it's a player issue, it has nothing to do with the class, it's a me issue and a playstyle issue, but I just feel as if for right now, until I get a bit more skilled at the game, it might be a better idea for me to just sort of stand back while I try and, you know, achieve that goal and try and clear the content. So one thing about this particular Nightfall here is that this is actually a rather tough one in my personal opinion. These guys, not only do they hit hard, but they'll come into this place right here and sort of funnel you all into this like sort of choke point, and it's not necessarily a bad thing, but it will definitely be a bad thing if you continue to let them come into sort of this safe area and you really can't address, you know, like kill them down quick enough. So, you know, you really could, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Like, tactically, it's better because if you can funnel them into the openings, you can essentially shoot them down as they come down the hallway. But then the opposite is true, is that once they get inside, they can come and attack you from all sides. And so then you're probably going to go down very quickly. One thing that I know, looking back at this gameplay, in general, though, I need to really utilize my heavy weapons more often. Whenever I was playing the Division 2, I would always harp to people who would watch my videos to use those signature weapons. And essentially, the signature weapon in the Division 2, for those of you who do not play, is the equivalent of your heavy weapons here in Destiny 2. And so I really need to utilize my heavy ammunition more often, especially when it's DPS phases like this. As of recently, thanks to my clan mate Sloth Moose, he did actually point me out to a machine gun heavy weapon, and I'm gonna start probably using those a little bit more often. But I think I'm gonna start to pick which heavy weapon depending on the subclass. I think for Void, I think the machine gun is actually probably going to be really good. The first thing I can think of is that, you know, Void rounds or volatile rounds, I'm sorry, with the machine gun is going to shred any and everything in the immediate path ahead. But I think that if I am running special weapons, I think grenade launchers probably would work best, only because you can kill a lot of ads very quickly using the grenade launcher, and therefore spawn the ammo for the special weapons. And then the last thing is rocket launchers. I'm not a huge fan of rocket launchers personally, although from what I understand, I think rocket launchers actually do the most like burst DPS, which is fine. I typically only use the rocket launchers only if I know that there are like those airplanes and stuff out and about, and even still, I still prefer grenade launchers over the rocket launchers, although I'll probably start to try and maybe practice a little bit more, maybe see if there's anything more I can do with it. Is it a personal issue with me having rocket launchers, or is it just something about rocket launchers I have yet to discover that would make me probably like them a lot more than what I do right now? So yeah, so I guess that's pretty much all I have for you on this video. I'm going to let the rest of the video play out in the background. If you feel, for all of you who have made it this far, I really appreciate that you have make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and, maybe turn on that bell for notifications. Other than that, I hope that you all are having a great day, and I hope that you will continue to watch my channel for, future videos that I'm going to put out. And yeah, with that being said, this is Ultimate Shield 340 signing off, and I'll see you in Destiny 2. Peace.
that's the last of them.
Good riddance, evil bastards. Until next time.